You know, in today's world, there's an avalanche of AI seeping into every area of how we live, work, and play. And hairdressing and the beauty industry in general is not immune to the changes that are happening. I'm Anthony Whitaker, and this is the Grow My Salon Business podcast. My guest today is Universe Walker, hairdresser, salon owner, and founder of Beauty Desk AI. Universe and her tech team have developed an amazing AI concierge specifically for the salon industry that will answer all your incoming phone calls and text messages and book appointments and so much more. In today's podcast, amongst other things, we're going to discuss the problem that Eve, the salon concierge, solves, how AI is impacting the salon space, and how Eve is able to handle multiple incoming calls simultaneously, and lots more. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Universe Walker, founder of BeautyDeskAI.com.
Hi, thank you, Anthony. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me on the podcast and can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, me too. I'm, as I was just saying before I push the record button, I'm excited about what you and I are going to talk about today. But before we dive into what we're going to talk about today, I just have to ask you about your name. Okay. I've never met anyone called Universe before. Okay. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. So is that what's on your birth certificate? Is that what your mum called you?
It is. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I just have this vision, when I heard your name of like, when you're a kid, you're outside playing on your bike or something and your mum goes to the back door and screams out over the neighborhood, "Dinner's ready, Universe." Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's fantastic. Have you ever met anyone else with the same name?
I have not. I have never met anybody with my name or anybody that has met anybody else with my name.
Good. Well, I'm sure it's often a topic of conversation. So
there's quite a story behind it.
Oh, is there?
No.
Okay. Can you condense it into 30 seconds?
Yeah. So again, my name's Universe Walker. Hippie parents. They were. This is a little X-rated. Can I go there?
Of course you can.
Okay. So they were on the beach tripping. I'll just leave it at that. They were tripping and they, did their thing and they were laying there looking up at the stars. And my mother knew that she was pregnant, like instantly. Wow. And told my dad. And they decided right then and there, if she was, they would name their child Universe. And of course, Walker's already there. And and she was, and she did. And luckily I love my name. It was quite a big name to live up to, but I think I've done a good job.
Yeah, that is a great story. And it is a big name to live up to. You don't get any bigger than, Universe. So that's the perfect segue then to get into what we are going to talk about. So I was thinking, how do I introduce the topic of this conversation? I thought the best way to talk about it is to get you to explain what is the problem that you were trying to solve, because you're a hairdresser, you're a salon owner, and you had this problem that you're trying to solve, and that's what's given birth to BeautyDeskAI.com. So tell us what the problem was that it addresses, and then we can dig into the details.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, after COVID, when we could open again, we were shut down for the longest out of anywhere here in the United States, in my county and in one of the cities where one of my salons is specifically. So when we were allowed to have people come back in, the only bodies I wanted in there were people that were generating revenue and paying money. So we did not bring front desk back. And I thought that, as things started ramping back up, online booking would take care of everything, right? As I talk about often, whilst I could not imagine running my businesses without online booking, it's an integral part of how we operate in this industry. Online booking did not take care of everything. So I had put for each of my salons like a phone number for people to call and text. And it was just completely overwhelming. So many calls, so many texts, and I was spending all of my time either trying to chase this down, or I was just missing out on it completely because, I'm a busy hairdresser and salon owner. And I just realized that in addition to me becoming burnt out on it, people were just, going to the next place where they did answer the phone or answer the text. The reality is that 75% of our industry does not have front desk anymore. That was a thing prior to COVID, but it is, exponentially so now. And I was just like, how can I solve this? I didn't really want, for me and the way I operate my salons, I had gotten used to not having a front desk. We operate on a thin, profit margin as it is generally in this industry. And I am an early adopter of AI. And I was just like, that's it. AI receptionist, like, what? Let's do this. So, so that was the problem, and over time, I have discovered that not only do salons that don't have front desk, but big salons that have, a robust front desk team wanted this solution as well for, when they're closed, when after hours, before hours, holiday, or their receptionist can go to the bathroom or help the human in front of them rebook, help stylists on the floor, sell product, answer calls that are coming in, not leaving people on hold. Eve, which is the name of the AI receptionist, can pick up all of the other calls that are coming in while a receptionist is on the phone. So so that's the problem that was being had, that I was personally experiencing, and this is the solution I brought to it.
Yeah, no, I'm sure every salon owner can now relate to, what it is that we're talking about here. So it is an AI 24/7 salon receptionist, concierge. It answers the phone and text messages. Yeah, that's correct. Is it just text messages as an SMS or messenger, DMs, WhatsApp? Is it like broader than just text messages?
So currently it's voice and SMS text messages, and they're all on a dashboard. One of the things that differentiates us from a lot of the AI receptionists out there is some of them are only voice. Some of them are only text. They're sending summaries to your email. You can't see like in real time what it is. You can't interrupt the AI. Yeah. Ours is all in one dashboard. You can see all the phone calls, transcripts, listen. The texts are all in that conversation, just like you would experience, say, on your iPhone.
Yeah.
You can turn the AI on and off and get in there. You can see metrics. You can see escalated tasks, etc. We are not omni-channel at the moment, but that is on our roadmap to get into, somebody could text from WhatsApp if they wanted to. That's just regular texting. But Instagram DMs, TikTok DMs, things like that, that is not a part of our service currently.
Right. Okay. All right. Now, I'm trying to be the audience listening to this and sort of trying to understand what this is about, because this is all new, for a lot of people. Is it a physical thing, i.e. on the front desk of a salon or somewhere, they might have a piece of hardware, a computer, salon management system. Is this like a physical thing, or is it all virtual?
It's all virtual. It's all in the cloud, right? Kind of gone are the days of, back in the day, I remember when we had a booking platform that you had to like load in the disk. So it's all virtual, all lives in the cloud. And as far as, is it a physical thing? No, not like a physical thing. However, with the client experience, the clients calling in, texting in, that is how they always would do. That is how they always experience calling in or texting into a salon. From our customers' point of view, salon owners, spa owners, barbershop owners, they do log in to a web-based application that they can access via their phone, desktop, laptop, tablet, etc. So they do have a pretty robust operating system.
Right. And so it integrates within your existing salon management software booking platform. It's something that integrates with that. Is that correct?
Correct. So we are a separate service. We are a separate software that you do log into separately, though we integrate with booking platforms. Currently, we have deep integration with Square. We just signed a global partnership with Square. So to your point earlier, before we got on this recording, eventually we will be available globally. Currently, we're only available in the United States, but more to come. And we are in conversations with several other booking platforms for partnership and integration. We're working on an integration right now. So those are on the roadmap. Those are soon coming down the pipeline. But we do have two versions of Eve. We used to call it Eve and Eve Lite. Now we call it Eve as our core product that has basically a light integration, and then Eve Plus that has a deep integration.
Okay. And so it is just voice. It's not voice and video. So it's not like a FaceTime, AI receptionist. That's not what it is. That's correct, isn't it? It's just audio. For now. Yeah. I only say that because I was looking at one recently, not salon industry. You've probably heard of it, Tavis.io. I was like, well impressed with that. I mean, that was very, it's incredible the speed at which all this is evolving. And so I can imagine that was obviously the next step, but at the moment it's all voice. We've all had arguments with Siri and different voice apps that we call up and we're talking to, not a human. That can be very frustrating. Now, I think one of the words that I've heard you use is latency. I didn't realize what latency means. It means the speed of reaction. Yeah, that like I ask you a question and you respond in real time, and that is something that you've developed and is very, very effective from what I'm gathering. That it's like a real-time conversation, isn't it? There's no awkward pause while it's processing what's going on. Is that right?
That's correct. Like what Siri and Alexa do is it's, in my opinion, far better and far more interactive with Eve. And not to give away too much IP, but there is not, and a lot of the other AI receptionists do this, where there's just the one facing agent, concierge, receptionist, whatever you want to call it. Ours is agentic. So there is an army of Eves behind the scenes doing everything that they do best.
Okay.
And that's part of the reason that it's A, so good, and B, the latency is really, really good.
Yeah.
So and that was one of my main concerns when developing this is like, it's got to be able to talk and interact with clients in a manner that is like talking with a normal receptionist. And I would even say it's better.
Good. No, great. Look, everyone's had that frustration.
Yeah, I can access that information very quickly. Now, you also don't want to make it too quick either, right? Like it needs to feel, as human beings interacting with other human beings, we have almost primally developed a expectation of what conversations are. And there is some pause, there is some back and forth, there is some even like little filler words, right?
Yeah.
And Eve does all of that. There are times when somebody's asking something maybe a bit more complicated, say because she does some consultative work as well, if that's what our customer wants.
Yeah.
So there can be a little bit more of a pause, but there would be with the human too.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. I can't help thinking, I don't know if you're a fan of a TV program, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Are you familiar with that? Larry David? Are you familiar with the scene with where Larry David has an argument with Siri?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay. I'll tell you what.
Check it out.
You have to check it out. If you put it to YouTube, Larry David has issues with Siri. It's a very funny clip on YouTube, and you'll relate to it as everyone does, who sometimes gets a robot that they're talking to that doesn't quite understand what it is you're saying. So anyway,
and I mean, I hate the old school, like,
Yeah.
bots that you call, like, on the, just give me a representative.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
They're terrible. But I mean, I listen to the conversations all the time
Mm,
that are coming through on Eve. And half the time, people, like Eve always says that she is AI, right? We're very transparent that you're
yeah.
talking to AI. But I'm telling you, at least 50% of the time, people don't really hear that part. And you can tell they think they're talking to a real person. And I've had
Right.
clients come into the salons and they're like, you know, and I'll ask them, like, how was your experience? Did you call in? How was your experience with me? When they're texting, they definitely don't know.
Of course. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, she's so good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Okay. I suppose some people will be thinking, just going back to what was the problem you're trying to solve, some
Mhm.
people will be thinking, why isn't it just enough to have online booking available, 24/7? Doesn't that solve the problem? What would you say about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, for some businesses, maybe it is, but the reality is that most new inbound clientele are wanting to have some sort of interaction, even if it's, just asking some simple questions. And I would propose that if you are not having somebody or something answer
Mm,
your phone calls and your texts, you are leaving money on the table.
yeah.
So, and, I ran an experiment. You may have heard it on Gordon's podcast. I called 100
Mm,
clients back from each of my salons, so 200 actually in total, that had called and or texted, and 100 out of 100 at each place did not follow through with a booking because it was nobody returned their call or their text. Like, I didn't have time. And every single one of them, when I asked them, would you have booked if somebody or something such as AI had answered, all of them said yes. If you
mm.
had what I needed, I would have booked. So yeah, leaving lots of money on the table. If you don't want an AI receptionist, that's okay. But I promise you that if you have it, it will help improve your.
Increases revenue. That's the bottom line that everyone wants to know about, I suppose.
Of course.
So it's called Eve. What? How
Mhm.
did the name come about? I know it's an acronym for something, isn't it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I was actually trying to think of a name, and I was chatting with one of my old stylists, Heather. She went on to open her own suite, but she was like, "Call it Eve, first woman empowerment." And I was like, that's perfect. Evolution and voice engagement. Yay, that's it. So it stuck, and I love it. And voice is the future, right? Whether you're speaking to like a VR avatar or on the telephone, voice is the way of the future. The fingers and thumbs are just they're slow. So
Yeah.
that's the future we're heading towards.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's called Eve. If I get Eve for my salon, do I have to call it Eve, or can I give it a different name? How much can I personalize this thing?
Yeah, so there is the ability to change the voice. There's the ability to um, dial up or dial down, like friendliness, quickness, um, even like sassiness. Uh, you could change the name. Nobody has yet. You
Okay.
could, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
you can literally change the personality of it. Is it
Yes.
is it picking from a menu? Like how do you do
It's
that?
more of a range. It's
Right.
more of a range of chattiness versus kind of straight to the point.
Yeah.
And each Eve is fine tuned to the specific business. Like, we just went into 3 spas, right? We
Mm.
just kind of were beta testing in 3 spas. And of course we do barbershops, we do salons, and then we'll continue to expand into other verticals. But everything is fine tuned, so it can ask more in-depth consultative questions if the owner wants it to. It can get straight to the point and just get to the meat and potatoes of what somebody is looking for.
Right. So
Does that answer your question?
yes, it does. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to dig into that a lot because that was a thing I was having trouble sort of trying to understand. I think I do understand it now. So purely because I've got a head start on most of the people that are listening to this. So you train, you have trained it as a solution for your salons. Um, but you are thinking a lot bigger than for your salons, and you recognize that different salons, different cities, different countries do often the same services, have different names for them, allow different amounts of time, all sorts of stuff. How do you sort of take the, I'm going to call it the standard version, the out of the box version that you have created, which already, has a lot of functionality. I suppose in a way it's a bit like, chat GPT or something, in that it works, but you've got to train it to be who you are. So how do you train Eve? If I'm a salon who's decided that I want to get this, how do I train it into my verbiage? Because even though you and I both speak English, there's words that I would use that you wouldn't use. There's words and phrases in your salon which I probably go, well, what does that mean? Do you know what I mean? So how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, exactly. So I would say, again, this is one of the things that differentiates us from more horizontal, meaning horizontal, any kind of business, right? AIs. We are specific in our vertical, and it was a very difficult problem to solve. Though Eve works perfectly for my salons, we did not train it just to be for my salons because of all of the different nuances that I didn't build it just for my salons. I built it to scale. And because of all the different nuances across the industry, right? We've got double booking. We've got one client at a time. We've got a la carte. We've got session pricing. We've got everything, to your point, that you mentioned. So in the architecture, it's been trained to be able to understand all of those different nuances. And again, differentiating us from different AIs, we scrape your data, Eve does, and it automatically understands everything about your salon, how you operate, what verbiage you use, what you're calling things, so that every Eve is different for every salon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I don't mean to keep bragging on my software, but it is very, very impressive. And we're just rolling out a feature where if there are certain things that are not kind of hard baked into, you can like add it into Eve and it'll update immediately.
Right. Okay.
To that point as well, it's not only how the salons operate and the salon verbiage and the different kind of services that they have, how they charge, how they price, etc. It's also the end consumer, the end client. As we know, clients often do not know they know what they want, but they don't know what the salon calls it or what the industry calls it. So Eve has become very adept at taking the information, the words, the language that the client is using, translating that into what that specific salon calls it, gathering that information, giving it back to Eve, the army of Eves, giving it back to the front-facing Eve, and then translating it back and saying it to the client in words that they can understand, and doing it, again, very quickly.
Yeah, okay. People listening to this will be going, yeah, but it's still not as good as a human being. I'd much rather have a real live receptionist at the front desk. Yeah. Talk to us about that, because I know from what little I do know about it, that in many ways it is better than a human being already and only becoming more so. So how do you answer that question?
Yeah, so, I think it's the next best thing in a lot of ways, right? So if a salon owner, if a business has a front desk team they already love and is doing a great job, fantastic. Keep them, bring Eve on to back them up, right? Mm-hmm. If you already don't have a receptionist, then it's there's no losses. It's win, win, win.
Yeah.
And I would say in a lot of ways, Eve is better at a lot of things than a human receptionist.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's other things that AI is just not capable of that human beings are.
Yeah.
So, but I think we're at a place where very soon, AI is still very, very early days. I mean, it feels like it's everywhere. And yes, it's becoming more and more so everywhere. But there's still a long way to go, and it just is going to keep getting better and better and better and better. But if you're a salon that wants that human touch still, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Can you train it to do things like, imagine I'm a client and you're Eve and I'm talking to you on the phone and you're thinking, oh, I know who I should put Anthony with. I should put him with Mary. Mary would be perfect for Anthony. That's the human element that can do that. How can Eve compete with that sort of thing, with that empathy and understanding of all the little nuances that go on, you know, whether we're talking about hair or whether we're just talking about the person and sort of trying to make a personality match?
Yeah. So Eve is very, very good at that, actually. She is very good at matching clients to the correct stylist. She's very empathetic. Just a couple of examples I'll give you real quick. One, somebody just called talking about how they were going to bring their kid in, that their kid was very nervous about getting their hair cut. It was their first time, et cetera, et cetera. And this was for one of my salons. And Eve recommended a particular stylist. And I was like, yes, that's exactly who she would have recommended. So she's very, very good at matching either for something like that or as far as like services go, she is spot on with matching.
Like color services, color correction, like all this sort of stuff.
Barbering, spot on with that. Yeah. Another example I'll give, just speaking to empathy, two different things have happened. One, a client called saying they were going to be late. And they were stuck in traffic, and he was like, no problem, I will escalate this and it was Frank they were booked with. I'll let Frank know that you're running late, and please be careful driving. You shouldn't be on the phone.
Wow, really?
Yes.
That's great.
And then another situation, a little while back, we had a tsunami warning here. Mm-hmm. And one of our clients, I can't remember if it was Scarlett or Knuckleheads, but one of our clients called in saying, I'm being evacuated. I have an appointment. I'm not sure if I should come in or what I should do. And Eve said, get to high ground. I will escalate this. We will rebook your appointment.
Oh, okay. Just for our audience, when you say Scarletts and Knuckleheads, you're talking about the names of your salons, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And there's endless examples of our current customers that have reached out to us and just been like, wow, Eve said this or Eve did that. This is mind blowing.
Incredible. Yeah. Can you work with it as a receptionist? So let me give you an example. I used to have, my busiest salon, I had 3 receptionists there, but they weren't always all in at the same time. There were some times where they all were in at the same time, all on the desk, making everything run. There were other times where there might only be one receptionist on the desk, but the phone might still be ringing a lot, etc. So is it able to do things like, if the phone call hasn't been answered within 3 rings, it diverts to Eve? Can you do stuff like that?
Yes.
Right. Yep. Incredible.
Yeah. So when we first created Eve, I honestly thought we were creating it just for people that had no receptionists.
Yeah.
Turns out people that have a full, robust receptionist team want Eve as well. An example would be Sam Bricado Salon in New York City. Mm-hmm. They have a great receptionist team, and Eve is their backup. So we, as a company, own the phone number. So everything comes through Eve first, and you can configure in your Eve dashboard whether you want Eve to answer all phone calls and texts, which is what I do. I don't ever answer the phone calls or texts. I'll do escalations, but that's it. Or at, say, San Bricado Salon, the call comes in through Eve, but immediately forwards to their landlines. It could forward to any kind of phone. Their landlines at their front desk. And if it rings, exactly to your point, 3 times because somebody's in the restroom or helping a human in front of them, or there's multiple calls coming in at the same time, then Eve picks up. And Eve can answer endless amounts of phone calls at the same time.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. That is amazing. So Eve can have 5 clients in conversation, 10 clients, whatever, at the same time. That is,
there will never be a call or a text unanswered.
Yeah. Okay, that's incredible. Okay, can it upsell and suggest other services? Like if someone calls up and says, I want to book an appointment for my color or whatever, can it offer a treatment? Can it access their records and see what they've had last time and see they had a treatment and a toner as well as their highlights? Can it bring stuff like that up?
Yeah. So if the business owner wants that as one of the things that Eve does, yes, Eve can do that. Currently, she does not access their past records, though we are working on that literally as we speak. My engineer's probably working on it right now.
Right now, yeah. I just thought of one of the areas that I think obviously Eve could do a lot better than a human receptionist, and that is product knowledge. Because once you've trained it, and you go into some salons, they might have 4 or 5 different brands, and there's a lot of duplication and a lot of product there. And as a human receptionist, I suppose there's an inevitability that you have your own personal favorites, but you can't have the diverse product knowledge that you need over all of those different brands. But obviously for an AI, you can put all of that training in there, and based on the input, it could have a very wide understanding and knowledge and sort of really zero in on the right product. Have I got that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. What about security issues? Is there any sort of security issues around it?
Yes, there's major security issues around AI, just broadly speaking. Yeah. So one of the things that we do not do currently is take any sort of credit card numbers. There's always a link sent to finalize booking, and most salons and beauty businesses, you have to put a card down for cancellation policies. So AI cannot anywhere. I mean, OpenAI, Claude, like anything out there, AI is not taking credit card numbers for now. Will that ever change? I'm not sure, but it is utmost for us as a company to make sure all of our customers' data is secure.
Yeah. Okay. And I've heard you talk about the transcript. Just tell us about the transcript, because our listeners won't know what that means and what purpose it serves.
Yeah. So you can, in real time, you want to make sure that Eve is saying all the things, doing all the things that you want it to, that you want her to. And you may get an escalation on, say, something like, for me, I don't have bookable consultations at my salons because I don't want gaps in my team's days. So consultations get escalated and I just take a peek at them. And so there's a recording of the call. Again, we let every customer, every client that calls know that they're being recorded. So the salon owner or whomever the salon owner lets have access to Eve, such as a team member or a manager, can see a summary of every conversation. You can play it and listen to it, or you can just hit a tab. And if you want to scan through quickly, a whole transcript of the whole conversation comes up.
Okay. Amazing. All right.
All within the dashboard too. It's not something that's like emailed to you separately. It's all there, all in one operating system in the dashboard. Very easy to access, very intuitive.
Okay.
One of the things also that was very important to me is, most people in our business are not super tech savvy. As a matter of fact, we're kind of repellent of tech solutions. And I wanted to make it as simple, easy, intuitive as possible, yet with lots of depth that you could dig into if you wanted, including like real-time data that was never available to us prior to AI becoming a thing.
When you say dashboard, like what is that? Where is that? Is that like integrated within your salon management software? How does that work?
Yeah, so we're a web-based application,
Mm-hmm.
and you log into it just like you would log into, a booking platform or any other web-based application.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about to put videos onto our website that show all of that. But yeah, so the dashboard, you just click in, you can see all the conversations. And you can access it from laptop, desktop, tablet, your phone. It's configured on the phone to look like anything else on your phone. So you can see all the conversations, you can see everyone who's called, you can click down and get your escalations. So things that Eve has escalated that need a further follow-up. You can click down and see your revenue that's coming in that Eve has captured for you. You can see why people didn't book, what they were looking for, if there was a particular service that a business doesn't offer. I've spoken on this before, but like in booking platforms, if somebody's just going to booking, you don't know that they've gone to booking and then not booked, right? With Eve, you can understand if somebody's called or texted and they don't follow through with the booking, you can see why they didn't was there not a specific service available on a specific day? Do you not take walk-ins? Do you not have enough people on the floor on a certain day? And with those insights that were, again, never available for AI came around and a solution like ours came around, then that can inform your business on, do I need to put somebody else on this day? Do I need to hire someone that does this specific service to, again, increase revenue?
Yeah, that's amazing. Look, I know we've got to wrap up in a minute, but I had Sam Bricato, you mentioned him earlier. I had him on the podcast, I don't know, probably 18 months ago now. I can't remember the exact time. And we were having that conversation about doing away with the front desk and making things more automated, AI-centric, handling a lot more stuff. And it was interesting, his response at the time, that he said, I've always remembered it. He was saying that, in the world that we live in now, people are being replaced in lots of different areas. And they're dealing with AI, they're dealing with machines, and that works. And there's so many benefits from it. But one of the things he was saying is that salons are different. When someone comes into a salon, it is one of those rare occasions where that when they come into the salon, they want that human engagement. They want, that empathy. They want that charm. They want that charisma. They want that human element and everything that comes with the human experience. And I just remember him saying, I'm not reducing the amount of humans at the front desk. I'm doubling down on it so that people can focus on the right things, not necessarily the wrong things, i.e. booking appointments, et cetera, et cetera. It's not about replacing completely. It's about allowing people to focus on other areas with a deeper level of intensity, commitment, whatever the word is.
Exactly. And I would agree wholeheartedly with that. For salons that have front desk team, we are reducing the strain, reducing the having to be on the phone and on the computer so that we can engage with the human being in front of us, right? That's the most important, is the human being that's right in front of us. So
that's a far better, you gave a far better answer to that than what I just did, okay, and less words. So thank you. Okay. So whereabouts can people find out more about Beauty Desk AI? Where would you like to direct them?
Yeah. So beautydeskai.com is our website, and at Beauty Desk AI on Instagram and TikTok is where you can find our socials. You can find me at Universe Walker is my name. That's the whole handle. Universe Walker is my name on both Instagram and TikTok. And if anybody has any questions, get at me. I'm here for you.
Good. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'll put those links on our website, growmysalonbusiness.com, and in the show notes for today's podcast. So if you're listening to this podcast with Universe, I can't get enough of saying your name, with Universe, and you've enjoyed it, do me a favor and share it with people who you know would also enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating and review on the Apple Podcast app. So to wrap up, Universe Walker, thank you very much for being my guest on this week's episode of the Grow My Salon Business Podcast.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
My pleasure. It's been great.